Imagine waking up ready for a peaceful weekend, coffee in hand, only to find four strangers marching up your driveway pretending to be police, sent by a woman who thought your skin color made you an easy target. But what happens when the person she tries to intimidate is a federal agent? Before we dive deeper, welcome to Voices Unchained. Tap that like, hit subscribe, and drop where you're watching from. These stories travel further than hate ever could. My name didn't matter to her. My house didn't matter to her. My rights definitely didn't matter to her. What mattered to Julia, our HOA president and self appointed dictator, was control. And control worked for her, especially over the people she thought she could bully into silence. She was the poster child for HOA terror. The kind who'd fine you $50 because your grass was half an inch too tall or because your trash can was visible for 10 minutes after pickup. Once, she slapped my neighbor with a violation because his kids' bikes were left in the driveway too long. Another time, she threatened to fine a family for having a welcome mat that wasn't neutral toned. But with me, her petty power turned personal. To her, I wasn't just another homeowner. I was the black guy who didn't bow. She'd walk past me with narrowed eyes, pretend not to hear me if I greeted her, and call the city on me over nothing, once claiming my truck was too intimidating for the neighborhood aesthetic. She fined me for having a flag on my porch, an American flag, then claimed it was unapproved decor. Every bogus violation she mailed, I fought and won. Every time she tried, I buried her in real law and real policy, and that bruised her ego worse than a punch to the jaw. So she escalated. It was a quiet Saturday morning. I just poured my coffee, still in sweatpants, when an SUV rolled up to the curb. Four guys stepped out wearing dark uniforms with HOA police printed across their chests. Convincing enough for the average bystander, but everything about them screamed fake to me. Wrong patches, no county insignias, cheap boots, holsters that held nothing. And the way they moved? Too theatrical, too stiff. Like guys who'd practiced looking official in a mirror. The tallest one strutted up first, squared his shoulders like he was auditioning. "You're in violation of several HOA regulations," he declared. "You're coming with us for processing." I blinked at him and sipped my coffee. Processing? What is this? Neighborhood jail? He didn't laugh. "You think this is a joke? You've been warned. Noncompliance is grounds for force." The stocky one behind him cracked his knuckles like background muscle in a bad movie. Another one unfolded a clipboard and started reading. "Failure to maintain uniform shrub height, unauthorized exterior fixtures, and..." I cut him off. "You've got 5 seconds to leave my property before you're charged with trespassing." The tall one scoffed. "You people never learn." You people. There it was. He lunged first, hand out like he was grabbing a shopping cart. I stepped aside, hooked his arm, and drove him into the ground with his face in the dirt before my mug even cooled. The stocky one roared and came swinging, wide and slow. I caught his wrist, twisted, and sent him over my hip into the gravel with a thud that knocked the wind out of him. Clipboard guy tried to run in with some kind of tackle. I sidestepped, swept his ankles, and he ate grass. The last one hesitated, then charged anyway. I grabbed his collar, yanked him forward, and planted him flat on his back. By then, neighbors were gathering on sidewalks, phones out, filming every second, and across the street stood Julia, arms crossed, sunglasses on, lips curled in the smuggest grin I'd ever seen. She thought she was watching her victory unfold. The tall one groaned, still face down, and muttered, "You'll regret this." I reached into my jacket and pulled out my badge. "No," I said, "you will." Gasps shot through the crowd. The fake cops froze. Julia's face drained of color, her arrogant smirk disappearing so fast it could have been a magic trick. And just then the real sirens wailed in the distance. Before they ever stepped onto my porch, I'd triggered the silent alarm built into my entryway. My line of work makes you cautious. Within minutes, real officers rolled up, lights flashing. They took one look at the scene, confirmed my credentials, and cuffed the four imposters on the spot. Quick pause. If this story has you hooked, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the wild turn this takes next. Stories like these deserve an audience. On the curb, the fake HOA cops cracked faster than an egg in a frying pan. Under questioning, they spilled everything. Julia paid them to rough me up, drag me to the HOA office, and teach me a lesson. Not just about compliance, but about knowing my place. Her words, not mine. She'd planned to scare other black families already living there and discourage any more from moving in. She literally tried to turn the HOA into a gatekeeping club for people who looked like her. The evidence piled up instantly. Neighbors' footage, my security cameras, recorded audio, a money trail from her accounts to theirs, and text messages instructing them to make it hurt if he resists. The judge didn't just throw the book at her, they dropped the whole library. She was stripped of her title as HOA president on the spot, hit with conspiracy, impersonation, harassment, attempted assault, and hate crime enhancements, fined into oblivion, banned from holding any HOA position again, and exposed to the entire community as a racist fraud. Her throne of petty power, gone in one afternoon. Some neighbors who used to tolerate her got real quiet. Others apologized to me personally, and that smug grin she wore like a badge of honor, replaced with the look of someone who just realized the world doesn't bend to her hate. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The people you look down on might be standing on higher ground than you could ever reach, because when prejudice meets power, it collapses every time. If that ending hit right, go ahead and like, subscribe, and drop your city in the comments. Stories like this need witnesses.